Okay, so at this point in our creative process, we have created 9 slides. We have that title slide, we have 7 content slides, and we have our final sort of call to action, in this case, asking the end user or the learner, what are you grateful for? So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through basically what is the design thinking when you're thinking through adding interactivity to slides? When will you add your back next buttons? And when can you actually export all of those slides into a tool like Storyline to add some additional interactivity? So let's see how that's done. So as you can see from my example here, I have basically something that's labeled Storyline, which doesn't have any arrows on it, as you can see. And then down here, I have a section that's called with arrows. So as I mentioned, if you don't have Storyline, if you don't have Rise, if you don't have anything that's similar, Captivate or what have you, it's just good to sort of think out what your interactivity may be for something like this. To me, it's just really nice to start thinking, okay, if there are 9 slides here and on my title slide for slide 1, I really only need a forward arrow, right? Because there's nowhere to go. There's nothing behind us. We're at the very front. But on slide 2, all of a sudden, I do need that back button because if I wanted to go back to slide 1, this is where it would take me. From slide 2, if I want to go forward to slide 3, this is where it will take me, right? So all of the content slides in the middle, they'll all have arrows. They'll have arrows going backwards and forwards until we get to the very, very end, which is here, which is the only place we have to go is backward, right? Because we're at the end, we can't go forward. The book at this point is closed. So does that make sense? I'm hopeful that it does. I did the sort of design thinking here in PowerPoint, but I really wanted to go one step further and go beyond just the design thinking and the layout and make it interactive. So as you can see, I do actually have these slides up above, which don't have any arrows whatsoever, with my goal being that I'm going to pop these layouts as PNGs into Storyline and then add the interactivity there. Let's see basically how that's done, right? Okay, so when you have all of your 9 slides, so what I like to do is I like to come up here to go to File. I'm going to export, change file type, come to PNGs. Okay, so now it's asking me which do I want to export? All of the slides that are in this or just the one? So I do want all slides, with the caveat being that it is really going to give me all slides. And because I have 2 sections here, I'm going to get a few more slides than what I need. Hopefully in yours, you can determine, do you want to actually go that extra step and export all of these to a PNG to import them into Storyline, or are you just going to stop at the arrows? Stopping at the arrows would be totally fine, in which case you wouldn't need such a big file, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and click all slides, see what this does for me. And as you can see here down below, I have a bunch. It'll tell me, okay, you have all of this in a separate folder. I'm going to go find that here. Okay, and it's put all of my PNGs in here. It's really easy for me to identify what's what because slide 1 through 9, those are what I really want. And then, of course, slides 10 through 18, that was that second section, which actually had the arrows. So for me, just to keep myself clear, I'm going to delete all of those and just keep to these 9 slides, right? Okay, so now here comes the fun. We're going to move things into Storyline now that we have our PNGs and actually add that extra layer of interactivity. We can, in Storyline, just like we did for PowerPoint, create our canvas to be that 1:1 ratio. And let's see how that's done. So right now, I'm over here, I'm in design. I'm going to come to slide size, and you can see the preset is at 4:3. This is how you would also change it to 16:9, which you should if you're ever doing anything in Storyline. And I can set that as my default size, which I also probably should. But I'm going to do custom. And so in this case, I'll just take the higher of the numbers. So 720, I'm going to say don't lock aspect ratio because in this case, I don't need it to be what it's predetermined it to be. And I'm just going to do 720. It's very similar, right? Because again, it's that 1:1 ratio, that square ratio. So I'll hit OK. And just like in PowerPoint, here all of a sudden we have this square. Super cool, right? Okay, so now that we have basically our square layout, what we want to do is we want to add the PNGs that we've exported from PowerPoint, drop them into here. So let me show you how that's done. So I'm over here on my slide and I'm going to come over here to Insert, click Picture, and then again, find where I've put all of my exported PNGs. In this case, here they are, and I'll just double click slide 1. And it drops it in. It's beautiful. Snug as a bug in a rug. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to right click, do new slide, and come over here to basic layouts blank to make a new slide, or I can also Control C and Control V to copy and paste a few more of those in. And I'm just going to rinse and repeat the process here. So for slide number 2, I will insert my picture like so, and then we'll just move forward doing the exact same for each. Okay, so here we go. And as you can see, each of the slides, there are no arrows, right? You can see though over here on the trigger pane that it automatically has a couple of triggers set up for us. So I'm not going to go into the trigger pane today. In terms of storyline tutorials, there are some really good ones out there. But what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and preview this entire scene and show you the built-in interactivity that comes with storyline in terms of how the back and next buttons work, and then show you how we're going to actually change that up. So here we have the modern player. This is sort of the default. This is mobile responsive. This is what often you'll see a lot of courses showing up like. This menu can be expanded upon. I don't have any of my slides named, although if I did, that would make this look pretty nice. But down here, this is where we have those arrows, right? Here I can only go forward. You can see the back button is actually inactive here because there's nowhere to go. Like I mentioned before, there's nowhere to go. Again, here I see my first slide, my second slide, and as I'm making my way down, you see the menu is checking things off. So if this were an actual course, if I was using a 16:9 layout and I didn't just want a really clean carousel that's in a square, like I'm actually going for it, this would be really nice. But in this case, I actually don't want to use the modern player. I want to remove the player entirely and add my own back and next buttons. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video because this one's getting a little bit long. So stick with me and yeah, we'll cover basically how to do that custom nav and how to remove the modern player so that we get that really nice looking clean square as we have right here. See? Okay, see you in the next video.